Independence DLC. If you could only pick one thing to buy out of all of the State of Decay 2 DLC, this would be the safest purchase and is my general recommendation. What, you thought I'd make you wait for 10 minutes while I stall for time, tell you to that like button before I eventually get back on topic? Nope, that's what the rest of this video is for. Anyways, welcome to the State of Decay 2 Buyer's Guide. This is not a review because reviewing all of these would be really long, it'd be a bajillion years long. I'm just going to go through all of the things that you can buy or obtain in terms of content, and I'm going to give you recommendations. I might gloss over, I might lightly review these things, but it's mainly just about recommendations of what you should or should not buy based on what I perceive to be the value of the item. The categories include the pre-order packs, because technically you can get them, but you're probably not going to get them. Then there are your core buying options. These are the ways that you can get State of Decay 2 and whether or not you should get State of Decay 2. Then we'll move into the Ultimate Edition DLCs. This is kind of like a season pass that included 3 DLCs, 2 of them that can be bought independently. Then we'll wrap it up with Heartland, which is the latest DLC that Undead Labs has created that they charge money for. All prices in this guide are based on what is normal as of January 6th, 2020. Anyways, let's get started with the pre-order packs. Gonna go over them really quickly since you're probably not gonna be able to get these. Anyways, there's 5 of them. The Preppers pack from the Microsoft Store, the Survivors pack from Amazon, the Survival pack from Best Buy, the SHTF pack from GameStop, and the Apocalyptic pack from Walmart. Each of them just have little bonus things like weapons. That said, some of the weapons are actually super good, such as the Grass Cutter from the Preppers pack. I'd actually say the Grass Cutter is one of the best bladed weapons in the game. But how do you get these? Well, you got to watch Undead Labs streams live on YouTube. Got to watch them live because they will occasionally host a raffle-style giveaway where you could get codes for all 5 of the pre-order packs. And that's why you're probably not going to be able to get these, so they're technically obtainable, but it's probably more accurate to say that they're technically unobtainable. Anyways, let's move on to your core buying options. These are the ways that you can buy State of Decay 2. You've got 3 options. Option number 1 is to buy the Standard Edition for $30. You can buy it on the Xbox, on the Microsoft storefront for the PC, and eventually, but not right now, for Steam. You can also shell out an extra $20 to buy the Ultimate Edition. Yes, it costs $50, and it's available on the same platforms, presumably also on Steam as well, eventually. What makes it so ultimate is that you're basically buying a season pass. You get 3 DLCs in it. The Doomsday pack, which is exclusive to Ultimate Edition, can't get it any other way. Also, the Independence DLC is included with it, and finally, the Daybreak DLC is included with it. The third way you could quote-unquote buy State of Decay 2 is if you are subscribed to the Microsoft Ultimate Game Pass, because it is one of the 400 games that are available to play if you are subscribed. The subscription costs $15 a month, and it's also worth noting that State of Decay 2 is part of the Xbox Play Anywhere initiative, meaning if you buy it on the Xbox, you also own it on the Microsoft Store for PC. The reverse is also true. If you buy this for Microsoft Store on the PC, you also own it on the Xbox. And here comes my recommendation. If you saw State of Decay 2 and it was love at first sight, just buy it on whatever your favorite platform it is. If you saw State of Decay and it wasn't love at first sight, then I'd recommend either playing it on a friend's platform or buy just 1 month of the Ultimate Game Pass and trying it out. The reason for this is pretty simple. State of Decay 2, it's a fun game with an interesting concept. However, it is all about permanent death. And while that isn't a problem, what is a problem is that it's a very buggy, janky game. And as a result, I just can't in good faith tell people to go out and just throw that $30 to $50 down on the game. You really need to make sure that this is the kind of game you're interested in. You need to make sure you're okay with permanent death. And you might want to get a taste of the bugginess of the game before you commit to further investment in it. Let me quickly say that the game isn't broken. It's just not very well optimized, and that can be troublesome in a game with permanent death. Anyways, let's move on to the Ultimate Edition. This is basically the season pass for State of Decay 2, and it costs $20 more, and you get 3 DLC items in the pack. You get the Doomsday pack. This is exclusive to the Ultimate Edition. There's no other way to get it. It's basically a weapon and supply pack. You get the Independence DLC. This is a weapon and vehicle pack. And then you get the Daybreak DLC, which is the first major paid DLC that adds a new game mode. The first thing I notice about the Ultimate Edition is that you don't really get a discount for buying everything in bulk. Normally when you buy a season pass, you get discounted maybe one item, so you're actually saving money. But in this case, the Ultimate Edition costs $20 more, but Independence costs $5 on its own, and Daybreak costs $10 on its own. So that's already $15. So basically they're saying Doomsday is worth $5, so you're not really getting a discount. What you get, though, is mainly some things that are supposed to give you a bit of a head start. You get like a junky supply drop full of basically garbage. You get some mid-quality melee weapons and some guns. The only thing that's really notable in the Doomsday pack is the AA-12 automatic shotgun. And that's simply because there's just not a lot of automatic shotguns in the game, despite the fact that they've added a decent number of weapons into State of Decay 2 since launch. Now, the Independence DLC, it's similar to the Doomsday pack in that it's mainly a weapons pack. However, unlike the Doomsday pack, you can buy it separately, and it has the best weapon in the game. The almighty pyro launcher and the fireworks crafting station, which is necessary for building more ammo for the pyro launcher. This weapon made it to #1 on my top 6 OP things video, so I mean, this is a super strong item. The rest of the stuff in the pack are a whole bunch of like fireworks-themed disposable items of very questionable quality, and you also get the ability to call in up to 3 different vehicles on demand. And this feature is also pretty valuable because sometimes you might get stranded in the middle of nowhere after your car gets destroyed, and just being able to call in a new set of wheels makes a difference. Each of the vehicles have their own unique ability that activates when you honk the horn. One of them has like side flamethrowers. One of them shoots fireworks to knock zombies off that are grappling onto the vehicle. And then one of them like poops out meat basically to distract zombies. It's also basically a van, so it can fit up to 8 rucksacks in the back, so you can call it in as a supply vehicle for storage at your base. Ultimately, though, when you're buying DLC, you're hoping to get value, and out of all the DLCs they've added into State of Decay 2, this is the one thing that has definitive value in the game. It is definitely going to be useful. It also happens to be the cheapest option. You don't have to buy the Ultimate Edition. You could just buy the Independence DLC on its own. Not a bad deal. And well, that brings us to Daybreak. This is one of the DLCs I definitely do not recommend buying, and therefore I do not recommend buying the Ultimate Edition, because this is the fundamental DLC that you get in the pack. This is the most expensive one. The reason I'm so against you buying Daybreak is because it's just such a super boring, time-consuming game mode, and most of the rewards are crap. There are some very powerful rewards in the game mode, but I just don't think it's worth it to play the super boring and repetitive game mode. So what is Daybreak and what makes it so bad? That might be what you ask. Well, it's a horde-style game mode where you have to hold out against 7 waves of zombies of obviously increasing difficulty, and it takes a really long time to play one game. I'm talking about the better part of an hour, at least 45 minutes. Oh man, and let me tell you something. This game does not change. It is the same composition of enemies, the same waves, the same map, the same holdout area. The only thing that changes in this game mode are the competency of your allies, because it is encouraged to be a 4-player online mode. You can play offline with 3 AI, and they suck. They are awful. The rewards are also really polarizing. Most of the stuff you get is garbage. However, at the very end of your collection, there are some really good items, and here are a few of them. You've got the Red Talon Watchtower, basically 3 times the power of a standard watchtower in a single building. These super powerful Red Talon soldiers who have very good final skills. One of them can even give you a bonus outpost allowing you to exceed the normal 6. And the Red Talon Workshop, which automatically repairs your weapons for free over time. Now these rewards, they might sound really enticing, but please do yourself a favor and do not buy this game mode. I cannot tell you how boring it is. So I'm just going to leave you with this thought. Daybreak is so boring that once you've played it enough times, you will be reminded that you have a limited amount of time, a certain amount of days, hours, months, and years before you will one day die, and you are spending it on this horrid game mode. That's what I think about when I play Daybreak. So to wrap up my thoughts on Ultimate Edition, huge thumbs down. Ultimate Edition stinks. Do not buy Ultimate Edition. Do not buy Daybreak. Doomsday Pack is meh, and since it's supposed to be like the unique offering, it gets a thumbs down. It's not unique enough. The only thing good here is the Independence DLC. Unfortunately, you can buy that separately for just $5. So get yourself an Independence DLC if you want that super sweet pyro launcher. The other items, questionable in value, but still very fun to use. Plus, the wacky vehicles are also fun to use. So that's what I think about that. And finally, that brings us to Heartland, the latest paid DLC. I'm going to be upfront with you here. I hate to be negative, but I'm just going to go ahead and give Heartland the thumbs down. Heartland is a story-driven DLC. It's supposed to take you out on this adventure, change up the game a bit, give you an interesting story, but the problem is it just doesn't go the distance, and it's not something that you need to personally experience, and here's why. Problem number one is that it just doesn't have any physical rewards for you to carry over into the main game. It had these unique guns known as the Echo series of guns, but then Undead Labs added another way to obtain them more easily in the core game, so there are no physical rewards to playing Heartland. The second problem is that the story that Heartland delivers is extremely basic and shallow. It is definitely not $10 worth of a story. It is absolutely jam-packed, full of unresolved character stories. And that's supposed to be one of the big selling points, is that it's got this story, but the stories just kind of drop off of a cliff. And it's not like a cliffhanger, it's just like someone forgot to complete the story. Now, there is the mysterious cliffhanger ending that kind of takes a stab at the future of the State of Decay 2 story, but you don't need to pay $10 to experience that. You could just watch that on YouTube and get the same experience out of it because of the third problem. The third and final problem with Heartland is that it doesn't offer really unique gameplay. Sometimes a video game story can only be really experienced by personally playing it because it's got some interesting game mechanics. But that's just not the case in Heartland. In Heartland, you are basically doing the exact same things with variation, but it doesn't transform the game in like a really interesting way. There are new variants of existing enemies, but you fight them in essentially the same way. There are new facilities, but they're basically just super versions of existing facilities. You use them essentially in the same way. In conclusion, the issue is that it's not essential to play Heartland to get the Heartland experience. You could just watch a playthrough of Heartland and get the experience. There are no unique offerings that you can transfer into your main save file and enhance the game there ever since they made them more accessible through the bounty broker. And perhaps most disappointing of all, you cannot take your community into the Heartland map and live there. That's one of the biggest comments I get on the channel is, can I take my community into the Drucker County map? The answer is no. That map was exclusively made just for Heartland. Anyways, let's wrap things up with a recap. The pre-order stuff, I wouldn't bother with it. I mean, if you really want to give it a try, you can watch their streams and hope that you win one of the raffles. I'm not even sure if they still do it anymore since I don't regularly watch their streams. As far as buying State of Decay 2 goes, as I said, if you're not absolutely in love with the game, then I would be a little bit cautious. It's a hardcore game, permanent death. It's got bugs. It's a janky kind of game, so I'd recommend demoing it first. Maybe your friend has it. You can try it at your friend's house, or pick up the Ultimate Game Pass and give it a try. Try before you buy. That would be my recommendation if you are on the fence. For Ultimate Edition, I think it's crap. Do not buy the Ultimate Edition. Do not buy Daybreak. I only recommend the Independence DLC because it's got that sweet pyro launcher. And finally, Heartland. Unfortunately, no, I would not recommend buying a Heartland. I would say watch a playthrough of it. You can experience the story that way because there's just not enough there to justify the $10 purchase. If you are just absolutely dying for more State of Decay 2 content, then sure, I could understand it. But in any other case, nah, save your money. But hey, that's the end of my buyer's guide. I hope it helped you. Remember to obliterate that like button. And I know some of you guys are going to be mad that I'm so negative about the game, but let me tell you, Fox has got to keep it real, especially when he is advising people to spend or not to spend their money. At any rate, thank you for watching. Subscribe for future State of Decay 2 content. Of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.